Welcome to Catherine Biroy Show. I'm so happy and honored to record this beautiful episode after a short pause we did. And now I have with me here someone very special. Reem Raouda is a conscious parenting coach certified by Dr. Shefali. She's the founder of High Love Parenting and very, very close to my heart, something like a soul sister. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and thank you for having me.
We had a little bit of fun before we started this recording because
Yes,
I
we did.
I told you I was anxious. I didn't record anything for 2 months because we were sick, honestly, and I'm very, very excited to record the podcast episode.
I'm so happy to be your first guest back, and I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Thank you so much. Would you like to start with sharing your story, your path, how exactly you became a conscious parenting coach?
Sure. So I have a son, and when he was about 2 years old, I realized that I was not doing things right. I was having emotional roller coaster rides bigger than his. I was having tantrums bigger than his. I was always anxious and very stressed and very nervous. And it was showing up in him. He refused to sleep, he refused a lot of things. And I just knew that something had to change. And it hit me one night when I was yelling at him for not sleeping that, you know what, maybe it's something in me, maybe my energy is why he's not really sleeping. So it hit me hard. And then I began to, do the work and listen to people like Dr. Shefali came into my life miraculously in time. And it was so transformational. I couldn't believe how it opened my eyes and everything changed. And I changed, my son's behavior changed, everything. And I felt so strongly about it that I'm like, I have to, this is my life. And I became a certified coach through Dr. Shefali, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
This is so wonderful story. I was blessed to know actually people who went through Dr. Shefali's Institute before I became mom.
Oh, really?
So, yes, I had a coach and I learned a lot about conscious parenting, and it truly, truly helped me. Still, my son is not going to bed on time, but but that's because I allow him to do so. It's not about anything else. But
Yeah.
honestly, conscious parenting helped me a lot. And I would like to share my own experience and interview people like you so that we spread this important message, because it is possible and it is very beautiful if we know some things. So, what is exactly conscious parenting?
Yes, yes, that's beautiful what you said, by the way. So at its core, it's us, the parents, becoming aware of what's going on inside of us that is getting in our way of being the parent our children truly need us to be.
Mm,
So what is in our way? Our emotional baggage, our childhood wounds,
mhm,
our conditioned beliefs, our inability to be present,
mhm,
our need for control. All these things are in our way,
mhm,
and they are being projected unwittingly, but they are being projected onto our children, and they are just soaking it up, and it's not their burden to carry. So
mhm.
it's becoming aware of what's going on here and cleaning it up, healing it up, closing up those wounds, and then showing up the way our children need us to show up.
Mm. You said it so beautifully. That was a revelation for me,
Mhm.
that parenting is even more about parent than about a child. I believe that our kids can feel our energy. Now my son is 6 years old. So when he see me sad, for example, for any reason, he asks me why you are sad. But when he was young, I believe that he was feeling my own feelings.
Mhm.
And what conscious parenting actually did is helped me understand it's about me. I need to work on myself. I need to work and be the best version for myself and for him, so we can have a beautiful relationship. So I'm very grateful for this concept and for all of you guys who are helping this world becoming a better place. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
such a beautiful thing. And it's a beautiful thing for your son, but also for you. Like, don't you feel so liberated from all of those things that were, hijacking you inside of you?
Yes, the moment we understand when something triggers us, why actually triggers, and we heal from inside,
Yes.
it doesn't go out. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, there is a traditional way of parenting, which most probably all of us experienced when we were kids, and imposing a discipline on a child in different ways.
Yeah.
But how we do that consciously, actually?
Discipline, it's not our fault, but
Mhm,
the way we were raised, we have this idea that discipline means punishing and
mhm,
being, harsh and teaching a lesson and taking something away or making our children suffer to learn a lesson. And that's not discipline. Discipline is teaching and guiding. And but we don't have that. First of all, no one taught us that's how to discipline. We were, most of us were punished and shamed even.
mhm,
So a lot of it is also understanding that these ways are working against us.
mhm,
They're creating more misbehavior, more disconnection, more stress, more chaos, and it's not working, and it's
mhm,
not what our children need, and it's damaging. It's
mhm,
damaging our children, and it's damaging our relationship and the connection. And the relationship and the connection is exactly what our children need to
mhm,
learn and to
mhm,
cooperate and, to be on our team together. So we're essentially working against ourselves with these ways. So that's why
mhm,
to consciously discipline is to really just shift and do it in a whole new way
mhm,
that works
mhm,
and that our children need. Who says that we have to discipline without kindness, without compassion, without empathy, without understanding where our children are developmentally?
mhm,
Getting to see that there is a need behind the behavior. The behavior is not purposeful to piss us off.
mhm,
There's something behind it, but we don't know to go behind the behavior. We've been told just squash the behavior,
mhm,
put a stop to it.
mhm.
And it's so much more than that.
Have you ever thought about the fact that parenting is the most important, if I may say, job in the world, and no one actually taught us about it?
It's crazy.
Right?
There's no test, there's no exam. You need to pass to drive to any job, and
Mhm,
for
mhm,
this, the
mhm,
most important job in the
mhm,
entire world, planet, universe,
mhm.
there's nothing. There's
Exactly,
nothing.
exactly. So why actually? Uh, um, I believe a lot of people are aware that they are doing this instinctively, but
Mhm.
somehow they're not reaching out for help.
Yeah.
Is it the fact that they don't know there is an option, there is a source for help, like
Mhm.
like conscious parenting? Or they actually truly believe they're doing a good thing? Because I believe that we all do our best for ourselves and our children, but maybe we're not even aware there is a better way. What are your thoughts about that?
I think we're so focused on our children and
Mm-hmm,
on their behavior and on
mm-hmm,
their excellence and on their extracurricular stuff and them being amazing.
mm-hmm,
But we don't look at ourselves. We
mm-hmm,
don't we don't have the time. We're not focused on us. We're just focused on them, what they're doing, their behavior, they're this, that. And we don't realize that our behavior is affecting theirs, that whatever is going on here is what's going on there. They're
mm-hmm,
connected. And to focus on ourselves more than
Mhm.
them is
Mhm.
actually what we have to do. But
Mhm.
I think we're just too focused on
Mhm.
what they are doing and how they are
Mhm.
doing it. And, you know, we don't think that it's us. We don't want to look at in the mirror. You know,
Mhm.
a lot of us just, maybe we know, but we don't want to look. We
Mhm.
don't want to see what's there.
Well, actually, our children's behavior is a reflection of their own emotion and most probably disconnection with parents and caregivers, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what do children really need from us as parents?
They need us to grow up.
we
They need us to grow.
we can understand this, in two different ways. They need to grow up, and we need to grow up
Yes,
for them.
yes, we do, because if, truthfully, a lot of us are, 5 years old emotionally,
Mhm.
we don't know how to handle their big feelings because we don't know how to handle our own. We were never taught. It's not our fault. I'm not blaming parents,
Mhm.
but it is our responsibility to, okay, wake up and see it and do something about it now,
Mhm.
because we're hurting our children and we're hurting the relationship so much by not becoming aware. So they need us to wake up, they need us to grow up, they need us to get out of our heads and be present with them,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
stop thinking and start being more with them, because that's where
Mhm.
they are and we're not. So we're so concerned with what we have to do for them that we're not being for them enough, and
Mhm.
they need the being. That's what they register, the being.
Mhm.
um, they need us to look at our expectations of them.
Mhm.
Are they realistic?
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
They need us to accept them for who they are, their nature, accept their nature. If they're shy, okay, let them be shy, you
Mhm.
know? And just they also need us to take care of ourselves, to fill up our cups so that we can show up not so frazzled, not so stressed, not so rushed,
Mhm.
to take care, take the time, meditate, go for that walk every day alone, do what you need to do to
Mhm.
feel full and whole so that you can show up
Mhm.
also the way they need you to show up.
Wow. It's just magical how things can shift. And it's more about support and love and being present than actually expectation from our kids. Our kids are separate beings. They have
Yeah.
their own needs, they have their own will. I will tell you an anecdote. My son yesterday told me, Mom, I would like to, because we live in an apartment, and he said, I want to have a house. And I said, okay, we will build a house. But what will we do when you grow up? And he said, well, you and dad will move. And I was like, really? Where? And he said, on the top of the mountain. I was
Oh,
like, where did he get that? And then I realized I was talking about how I would like to live on the mountains or close to the sea. So he picked it up. They're like little sponges, picking
yes.
everything up. But have you noticed that this is actually overlapping to all of our relationships?
Oh, yeah.
Uh, right. As I was learning, I mean, I'm still learning. You know this far
Mhm.
way better than me. This is just a guess, but you please share your thoughts with me. I think the same wounds, the same elements in our own being, when we touch that with conscious parenting, it's actually overlapping to all the relationships in our life. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. It's so true, because when we see that, part of a huge part in becoming the conscious parent and going on that journey is acknowledging that we were not authentically seen as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we have an inner child inside of us,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have this mask that we wear to protect the inner child. So, but so when we see that in us, that there's an inner child there, and we've become this person to protect them, then all of a sudden we see an inner child in everybody. You know, we see it in our husbands, we see it in our friends, we see it in our kids, we see it, and especially seeing it in our children. We see that, you know, they might be acting a certain way that isn't really who they are, but they're protecting their inner child already. And that stops, you know, us dead in our tracks of seeing them being inauthentic as a coping mechanism. So yes, absolutely. So now I don't see people, I see inner children and I see an ego. I see an inner child and an ego.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And you see how they're coping, and what persona they took on to cope. So absolutely. And it brings more compassion,
Yes.
because you're like, they're protecting something, you know, this is not really who they are, or they don't mean to be that way. They are in protection mode.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, you know, a lot of fights maybe with my husband, maybe, you know, I'm like, oh, he's just, you know, it does bring compassion for sure.
For sure. And you know what I noticed? Like the younger the inner child is, the bigger
Mhm.
the ego is. So it's
Absolutely.
kind of funny to watch all these people who are very, very high in, ego-driven world. Like,
Oh my
what
God.
is really inside? What are you really keeping there? Where is the heart? Show it. It doesn't
Mm,
have to be this way. This is
mm,
why I think your work is so important, because it shifts a little human being to grow up as an authentic being who will show the heart. and
yes.
and we are meant to be love. We're just, the society did it part. But if we have
Mhm.
more aware children and more conscious parents, I even believe that the mission behind it is much, much wider, and it helps
Yes.
us as a humanity to evolve.
Yes.
I,
Yes. It's the most important thing, because
exactly.
we are all, you know, wounded
Mhm,
beings, you know, and it's all goes back to the parent-child dynamic. It does. It
mhm,
all does. So it is everything. It's
mhm,
everything.
mhm,
And it's not like we want to change into someone
mhm,
that we're not. It's we have to uncover who we are. It's inside of us. And that this work peels the layers of who we are not.
mhm, mhm,
We are more inauthentic. We're all inauthentic. We're
mhm, mhm.
being inauthentic if until we are our authentic self. So this work goes, oh my God, that's not my belief. That's my parents' belief that I've carried.
Exactly.
You know, it's
I
I
don't even want to own that.
don't.
Right?
Right. I get, and you know, or I don't, you know, all these things, and I'm not really a people pleaser. I was just acting like that because at 3 I became a people pleaser, and my whole life I've been a people pleaser, but that's not really who I am. That's from a
Exactly.
wound. That's
Exactly.
my persona. That so then that comes off, and now I can arrive and I
Mhm,
can be. So not only for my son, for myself, this work
mhm.
is like a win-win. Everyone wins, your child and you.
That's exactly what I wanted to express here. It is not only about the child. It is not only about the relationship with our kids.
Mhm.
It's actually about ourselves
Yeah.
and bringing up healthy human beings while healing ourselves.
Yes.
It's amazing. But if we focus on one thing as a parents, what
Mhm.
do we as a parents lack the most?
What should we focus on the most?
What do we lack?
Oh,
What is
what do
the
we lack?
first thing that we lack that we need to focus more?
I think we lack consciousness. I mean, we lack the awareness. We are not looking at ourselves. We are only looking outward, and we're not like, we really have to become witnessers of who we are. Study yourself, dissect
Mhm,
yourself.
mhm,
That's number one. And number two, we're lacking skill. We were never taught, we were never taught how to validate emotions, how to validate feelings, how to handle big feelings, how to, you know, we're just so reactive. We were never taught, what's really going on within our child. So it's awareness, consciousness, and skill that we were never taught.
And this is so true. Like as we mentioned, everyone is doing this intuitively, and we believe when we become parents, like if they did it, I will do it too. Like it's a natural thing, but it's not. It's
It's
not a
not
natural thing, and the child will behave as a reflection of our own self-being. I do believe so, right?
right. And I think we've gone so far from who we really are. I think
Mhm.
that, there's all the parenting books and the how to and the techniques and all these things. But if you're really just
Mhm.
connected to your child,
Mhm.
you don't need someone to tell you how to do, how to discipline. You're gonna listen and you're gonna do what feels right, and you're gonna be there, and you're gonna be empathetic. You're going to understand you, but we're off that track somehow
Mhm.
because we have all this stuff going on inside that's getting in our way.
Mhm.
We're hurting, so we can't be open and loving and conscious. So yeah, it's getting back to ourselves so we can be natural
Mhm.
about it, go with our instincts as mothers, especially, we're loving, we're nurturing,
Mhm.
and that's what our children need. It's not like we have to make them hard, and for the
Mhm.
world it's hard. No, let them depend on us. That's a good thing. That
Mhm.
creates independence.
So true. And what
Yeah.
happens with kids when we actually behave as conscious parents?
Oh my God, they thrive.
Hmm.
They thrive. It's like we give them the wings to fly when we become conscious, and they will know who they are, and they will love themselves. Look, I can cry when I say that.
Me too. It's just like it's too much. And
Yeah.
I can guarantee from my own experience, it really is like that.
Yeah.
It truly is like that. When my
Right?
son was about to go to kindergarten, I was back in the corporation. And he didn't want. He was crying, and they were even organizing meetings of experts and all of that.
Oh.
And it was just the fact that he was forced to be separated from me. That was the issue.
Yeah.
But as he grew up and we established a good relationship so that I can focus only on him. Back then I didn't have time because of the work. At
Mhm.
least 15 minutes a day, no
Mhm.
distractions, only mom and son's time.
Mhm.
Afterwards it became mom and son's day.
Oh.
Completely changed the way he behaves.
Yes.
Just a
Yes.
little, just something little as that. And I
Yes.
was like, is this really possible? He only needed me to be present at least 15 minutes a day, no distractions.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's
It's so
magical.
powerful. Our presence, our true presence, our real presence is so powerful. And when we understand that our children just want that, they don't want the sprinkles and the ribbons and they just want us, but really truly there.
Yes.
And that's hard. That's not easy
Hmm.
because we're not, there's too much going on, and we got a lot, a lot of people have mothers have more than one child. They have work, they have this, they have that. So it's squeezing in the time
Hmm.
because it's precious.
Hmm.
And that 15 minutes, like you said, is worth, what?
That's because I left. That's one of the reasons I left corporation. So now we have as much time as we want.
It's a
By the way.
beautiful thing.
But
See what a gift you gave yourself and your child.
yes, but thanks to conscious parenting and a lot more others personal growth programs,
Mhm.
because I needed to heal. I needed to love my inner self, my inner child, and that's where the growth happened. And this is exactly why I bring in experts like you to share this, so we can spread awareness about this
Yes.
and help people to understand there is a way, there are always options, and we can always thrive and we can always grow. So if someone would like to work with you, how they can find you, what is the best way?
Well, I guess my email is reem@highloveparenting.com, and I'm High Love Parenting on Instagram, on Facebook, and LinkedIn. Yeah, that's how, High Love Parenting.
We will leave an email and all the links in the description of this episode. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being my guest. I truly enjoyed, and I hope you did too.
Me too. It was just a beautiful conversation, and you are so beautiful. And what a beautiful gift you did. You gave yourself and your child and your family.
Thank you so much. And thank you for helping so many. Thank
Of
you.
course. Thank you so much.
Love you. Bye bye.
Love you. Bye.